Hey guys, I'm Jacob. You're watching the Preppers Bunker Outdoors, and today we are talking about this belt knife from Shadow Steel Forge, the maker Chris Rannells. I got this at Blade Show. I've used it a good little bit, and I want to talk to you about my first impressions on this blade and show you briefly some specs and show you what we got here. So let's get to it. Stick around. All right, so here is what you get this on the sweet little belt knife. This Kydex sheath is suede lined in there, so as to not scratch up the blade. It feels very smooth going in and out. Came with a clippy clip, and look at that. You've got a nice usable blade. Kimber, doggone it. You've got some good edge geometry, a little bit of a convexed micro bevel there. Kimber, don't even do it. Don't even do it. This is wenge wood. Now you can get, this is a custom knife, guys. So if you're gonna order a knife from Chris, or if you're gonna buy one that he's made, it could come in different high carbon steels, or it could come in different handle materials. He does a good bit of them. But overall, you know, what a nice to carry little knife. So let's go right to talking about it. So what do I think about the blade? First off, let me just say that I've used this knife more than I typically use knives for initial impressions reviews, and I've been very satisfied with it. I've been very satisfied with how it holds an edge. I've been very satisfied with the edge geometry and the handle geometry. It's been a joy to use in the kitchen, which is primarily where I've used it so far. We have a nice edge, a nice edge thickness. We have a nice square spine. And so how I'm going to use this knife to the long-term review is primarily going to be for basic firecraft, striking a ferro rod, food prep, and carving. I think those are the main ways that a belt knife of this size could be used. Now, I wouldn't call this knife a bushcraft knife. I wouldn't call this knife a kitchen knife. I wouldn't call this knife a skinner. I would call this knife a knife. I think that this is a generalist belt knife that is practical to carry on your belt for just about any kind of knife tasks that you want to do. So, in my book, that's a good thing. In some of your guys' books, that might not be such a good thing. Now, what I really like and what I'm really going to test for, what I'm going to be looking at is, so far my thought is that what Chris Rannells is offering is an excellent balance of quality, fit and finish, and price. He's hand forging these knives. So far, it's held an edge great, and everything works very well. Now, why do I say it's a balance? Well, some makers would sell this knife for $600 because they have to, because they have 100 hours of work into it. I'm just throwing out numbers. All right, this knife on the table at Blade Show, I might be wrong, but I believe it was 180. And here's the thing. Here, let's talk about this with pricing really quick. Makers can have to change pricing. So if I tell you pricing in a video, a lot of things can happen. The price of materials can go up, the demand can go up, but also the maker can improve their fit and finish or spend more time on each knife because they decide they want to offer a different price, and the price could go up. So I'm mentioning the price. That's where it was at right now. But at Blade Show, some of his big choppers were really beautiful, and they were $400 to $500. Really well priced for the amount of work that goes into them and the materials being offered. So how this is going to go is, in the long-term review, when I use this knife for the stuff that I specified, it's going to be an absolutely positive review. If the knife holds an edge as long as it's supposed to, it doesn't roll when it shouldn't, it doesn't chip, it doesn't break, it strikes a ferro rod well, the handles don't crack or whatever, then I will say this knife is absolutely fantastic because it sells at a price point that's great, and On the flip side, if we have quality control problems, then I'll say, look, I think that Chris needs to spend more time on his quality control. I guess that's how any knife review should go. But when you look at this, everything works and is absolutely practical. But like the knife sheath might not be shaped the way that you like it. It does not click on the way in. It does not click on the way out. But retention is definitely acceptable. The micro bevel is not perfectly the same height across the edge of the blade. The handle pins you can't see in this video, but you can feel it with your finger, are just slightly proud. None of those are problems to me, especially at the price point. Fantastic working knife. Unless the quality isn't there. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think the quality is there. I'm a huge fan. And I really like what Chris is doing so far. So I'm excited to bring you the full review on this. I'm excited to continue using it. Super practical. And like I just mentioned, the Kydex. Okay, the Kydex works, but I mentioned it might not be what you're looking for. I think 95% of the people that could potentially buy this knife would not replace this Kydex sheath. I have a rule. My favorite knives get custom aftermarket sheaths from my favorite sheath makers because I think if a knife is good enough to be one of my favorites, it deserves it. And I think that this could be a knife that I send out to one of my favorite makers. I'll say that my favorite makers right now are, Bear Force Knives, Yellow Hawk Custom Kydex, the Aaron Seibrant Studio leather, and Spirit of the Bear Designs leather. One of those four people, if this knife holds up well, you'll see it in one of their sheaths, and it's not because this sheath isn't good enough. It's because I'm a little bit of a knife snob, and I like the best sheaths on my favorite knives. And in the same way, does the knife have a few things that are different on it from one side or the other or whatever? Yes, but it's a hand-forged knife at an excellent price, and to me, as long as it does what it's intended to do, every little thing about the blade is a character mark. The difference between a character mark and a problem is if the edge wasn't straight, that would be a problem. If the heat treat is wrong, that would be a problem. If things crack, break, fail, warp, those are problems. But considering the price point, little details that aren't perfect to the eye or finger on a completely usable blade at the right price are character points. I think this knife is filled with character. I can't wait to slap a dirty patina on it from tons and tons of use and food prep and blood and ferro rods and fires and probably a little bit of rust, because that's what I do, and I think this is the perfect knife for that. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll put links to where you can find Chris's work in the description box below, as well as links to where you can find out how to support this channel through my businesses, Exodus Knife and Tool and Beach and Tactical, through my affiliate links, Palmetto State Armory and Brownells, through Patreon, or even just through my social media links. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a blessed